All right, let's deep dive into Visa today. Should you add it to your portfolio? To help figure that out, we've got reports and market data. We've even got some analyst predictions to think about.
Yeah, these days it's more than just, swiping a card.
But
To really know if it's a good investment, we got to understand Visa's financial health, right? And then their market position, plus what they're doing to stay ahead of the game in the future.
totally. So their financials first. Visa earned a massive $35.93 billion in revenue. That was just for fiscal year 2024. And get this, their revenue has been climbing steadily for years. Their Wikipedia page has a table that really shows it.
Hmm. Yeah, a consistent upward trend like that in revenue. That's a good sign. It shows the business model is strong. It's not just surviving, it's thriving in this digital age. They're adapting to new technologies and changing consumer behavior.
Yeah, and speaking of adapting, their global reach is really incredible. Wikipedia says they have 50% market share in card payments. And that's outside of China. You really see that blue logo everywhere you go.
True, but there's a little asterisk next to that dominance. Visa is huge, but they're actually the second largest card payment organization. That's globally. China UnionPay, they took the top spot back in 2015.
Okay, so that's something to consider when we think about future growth.
Huh.
But Visa isn't just sitting still. They're making interesting moves, especially with digital currencies. Did you know they're even accepting USDC stablecoin for transactions?
Yeah, and they've partnered with First Boulevard and Neobank, all about cryptocurrency. It's a fascinating strategy, really diving into that evolving landscape. It could be a brilliant play long term, but it's not without risks, of course.
And while they're embracing the future of finance, they're not ignoring security. Visa's investing a lot in tokenization.
Yeah, tokenization basically replaces your sensitive card data. It uses unique tokens for online transactions. It adds a layer of protection against fraud, which is so crucial now.
So they're building for the future and keeping an eye on security. Now let's talk about their valuation. Visa's market cap as of December 2024 is a huge $609.73 billion. That makes them the 15th most valuable company globally. I saw that on Company's Market Cap.
Wow, and when you compare them to MasterCard and PayPal, they're ahead. But the question for investors is, does that valuation make sense? Are they overvalued, or is there still room for growth?
Not every move they make is a winner, though. Remember their attempt to buy Plaid back in 2020?
Ah, yes, the $5.3 billion deal. The U.S. Department of Justice blocked it. Antitrust concerns.
So what was the thinking behind that acquisition?
Well, Plaid connects financial apps to user bank accounts. Visa saw it as a way to integrate further into fintech, but the Department of Justice, they saw it as a potential threat to competition.
Right, a good reminder that even giants like Visa have to play by the rules. But they're expanding in other ways, too, like with the Visa Commerce Network.
Absolutely. That network helps businesses offer rewards programs and loyalty perks, the kind we all love.
It's a smart strategy. It diversifies their revenue and strengthens their relationships with businesses. But let's not forget, Visa plays a huge role in the global economy. That has come with some risks, right?
Exactly. Their business is tied to global economic conditions. So a key question for investors is, how sensitive is Visa to economic downturns? Do they have ways to weather those storms?
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Visa's impressive financials, global reach, their move into new areas like digital currencies. We also talked about some challenges they face, like regulations and economic uncertainty. What do you think so far? Are you starting to get a sense of whether Visa would be a good fit for your portfolio?
We've definitely laid the groundwork. But there's more to uncover. We need to dig into the pros and cons of owning Visa stock, for investors. Okay, let's weigh those pros and cons. What are the good things? Well, Visa has that rock-solid financial performance. We talked about that, right? And they have a dominant market share. Plus, they have this forward-thinking approach to innovation. They're not afraid to explore new technologies. They adapt to the changing landscape.
That all sounds pretty good for a potential investor. But what about the downsides? What are some of the drawbacks of owning Visa stock?
Well, regulatory scrutiny is a big one. Like we saw with that Plaid situation, governments are keeping an eye on Visa's market power, and any future acquisitions they try to make could face similar hurdles.
So, potential roadblocks to growth.
Yep.
What else?
Competition, of course. New fintech players are popping up constantly, trying to disrupt the payments industry. Visa needs to stay agile and innovative to keep its edge.
Right, and we can't forget their dependence on the global economy. A healthy global economy is good for Visa. A downturn, not so much.
Exactly. Now let's talk about their dividend policy. Are they giving lots of cash to
They're
shareholders?
not really known for being a dividend darling, are they?
Well, Visa does pay a dividend, but it's not their main focus. They seem to be prioritizing reinvesting profits back into the company to fuel more growth.
So maybe not the best pick for income-focused investors then, but it could be good news for those looking for long-term growth.
Hmm.
What about share buybacks, though? Are they putting their money where their mouth is?
They are actually. They're actively repurchasing their own shares. This can be a positive signal. It often boosts earnings per share, and it can show that management believes the stock is undervalued.
Interesting. So what are analysts saying about Visa? What's the word on the street?
Wall Street seems pretty bullish. TipRanks has Visa at a strong buy consensus rating. The average 12-month price target is $325.13.
That's a potential upside of 3.31%. Not bad at all. But as always, do your own research, think about your own investment goals and your risk tolerance. Analyst predictions are just one piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. Now, before we finish up, let's touch on ESG factors. Environmental, social, and governance issues. Those are becoming really important to a lot of investors.
Yeah, people want to invest in companies that align with their values. So
Yeah.
how does Visa stack up on that?
Well, Wikipedia talks about the Visa Foundation. They support inclusive economies and women-led businesses.
That's definitely a plus. Anything else worth noting?
Yeah, their decision to suspend operations in Russia after the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. That says a lot about their stance on geopolitical issues.
It's definitely something for investors to think about,
Yeah.
especially those who prioritize ethical things. Okay, so we've explored Visa's financials, we talked about their innovative moves, and even their stance on social responsibility. So is Visa the right fit for your portfolio? Ultimately, that's a decision you have to make, based on your investment style, risk tolerance, and how you see the future of payments.
We've given you the info. Now it's up to you to connect the dots and see where they lead. Remember, every investment has some risks.
We've talked about Visa's strengths and, potential risks, but what's the bottom line here? Should this stock be on your radar?
I think it's helpful to zoom out, look at the big picture.
Okay, let's do that.
Visa is right at the heart of the digital payments world. And that world, it's only getting bigger.
Yeah, you're right. Online shopping, contactless payments, mobile wallets, all growing like crazy.
And Visa's in a great position to benefit from that growth. They have this vast network, huge brand recognition. Plus, they're always pushing into new technologies. It seems like a company built for the long term.
But are they delivering on that potential? What about their financial performance?
Their track record's pretty good. They've consistently had strong revenue growth and profitability year after year. Their operating margins are impressive, which means they're managing costs well, squeezing profits out of every transaction.
That's good to hear, especially for a potential investor. But remember that Plaid acquisition that failed? That must have been a financial setback, no?
It was a bump in the road, yeah. But Visa is a resilient company financially. Their core business is strong, and they have plenty of resources for other growth opportunities.
Okay, so they're financially sound,
Yeah.
and they seem well-positioned for growth. But dividends matter a lot to some investors. How does Visa do there?
They're not exactly known for big dividend payouts. It seems like their policy is to reinvest profits back into the company to fuel more growth.
So maybe not the best for income-seeking investors then, but good for those who believe in Visa's long-term potential.
Exactly. Now, let's not forget about share buybacks either.
Right, they've been actively repurchasing their own shares. What does that mean for investors?
It can be a good sign. Often it boosts earnings per share, and it can signal that management thinks the stock is undervalued.
So they're putting their money where their mouth is, betting on their own success.
Precisely. Now, what does the market think overall? Remember those Wall Street analysts?
Yeah, they seem pretty optimistic.
TipRanks gives them a strong buy consensus rating. The average 12-month price target is $325.13, suggesting the market thinks Visa has room to grow.
Encouraging for sure. But as always, do your own research. Think about your own goals and risk tolerance.
Absolutely. Analyst predictions are just one data point.
Okay, we've explored Visa from all angles. Financials, innovation, risks, even what the market thinks. So, is it worth considering for your portfolio?
If you want exposure to the future of digital payments, Visa's a major player, no doubt. Dominant market position, strong financials, and that forward-thinking approach to innovation we talked about.
Yeah.
But like any investment, weigh the potential rewards against the risks.
Well said. And on that note, we'd love to hear what you think. Do you think Visa is a buy? What other companies or industries should we deep dive into? Head to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and let us know in the comments.
Until next time, happy investing.